Hey, what's up, everyone? Excited to introduce. And am I pronouncing it correctly? Is it Frisconi?
Fiasconi.
Oh, Fiasconi. Sorry,
You
I
gotta go
should
like
have
that.
said it. Fias
Fiascone.
Fiasconi.
Fiascone.
No, I'm excited to introduce you to the community. I'm sure people will be trickling in. It's a great community. I provided some context with what some of you are all dealing with and some of the stuff that's going on with your life. So It's yeah, it's a pleasure for me to introduce. Oh, let me just accept everyone. So Mike is currently the CRO at 100 Handshakes, and I know Mike because of Ian's community. We had some pretty deep conversations in Lake Arrowside at Ian's beautiful home. So Mike was very generous and just sharing about some of his stuff, and like I was talking about some of my personal issues, and he was very generous and just like being very empathetic and very compassionate as I was, going through, what seems like the toughest month of my life. So thank you so much, Mike, for being there for me. And so you have a course on cracking the code on executive engagement. You're a top sales effectiveness voice on LinkedIn, so congratulations on that. 25 years, former number one AE at DocuSign. Close a lot of multi-million dollar deals, and I know you're a co-founder at 100 Handshakes, where you're helping build org charts to help enterprise sellers be able to be more strategic and collaborate. So I love what you're doing, and I was reading some of you have a lot of really solid testimonials on your LinkedIn, around your meticulous attention to detail, high level of product knowledge, also creating a lot of like the bedrock of the customer. Basically, you're known as like the guy who can sell really, really large deals. So excited to have you here, and just share your gifts with the world. And I know thousands of people will be watching this, and I know you'll continue to impact thousands of lives on a regular basis. So welcome, Mike.
Thanks for having me, Davidson. Appreciate it.
So before we get into more of the sales stuff, like I was really um present to like just the amount of soul searching that you've done, and a lot of you figuring out your own voice, and you've struggled with people pleasing earlier on in your career. So would love to talk through some of those challenges, as a lot of people in our community, the Daring Hearts community, have also struggled with people pleasing tendencies. So would love for you to just share a little bit more about your journey. And then the last 20 minutes, like, would love to keep it open to Q&A, and then we'll have questions. I know some people here have prepared some questions for you.
Like to make it a little interactive. So you can either type in the chat or raise your hand, but I am curious to poll the group. How many of you hate to cold call or prospect? I definitely do.
It's not my top activity, no.
Charlie's like, I love it. This is like the best part of his job.
Yeah, I'll probably call you tomorrow since
Yeah. What about, does calling on executives make you feel nervous? Do you have fear, like, I don't know what to say? I don't know. I don't want to piss off my champion. How
Well,
about how about maybe saying a product can do something when you're not sure if it can actually do that? Oh yeah, sure, we can. Yeah, absolutely, we can do that. We'll figure. We change and adapt. We're customer facing people, so we change and adapt based on who we're talking to. And early in my career, I did that a lot. I was really good at it. I could shift my personality based on who I was talking to. I could be analytical and short if it was an analytical person. I could be very open and free feeling when it was more of a storyteller. I said whatever they wanted me to say. Whatever I thought they wanted me to say, I would say, because I wanted to get the deal. I want to close the deal. So I'd go from meeting call to meeting call, and I was a different persona every single time. I would change my mask depending on if I was meeting with IT, or if I was meeting with HR, or meeting with operations, or meeting with my boss, or meeting with my solution engineer, or meeting with my coworkers, or meeting with my partners. I was a different person every time, I feel like. Now, they may not have known the difference, but I knew the difference. And I was so good at it, it worked, that I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I was underneath all the masks. And so I pursued a number and I achieved the number and I was never happy. And I pursued the next number and I didn't hit the number and I wasn't happy. And then I was going to quit. And then I decided to join. And then I was mad at my wife and I was upset with my kid. And I'm like getting praised to be on stage for being the top rep. And it just I wasn't happy because I didn't know who I was. I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. So I reached for alcohol. You know, when there was a sales kickoff or a QBR or a big meeting, sales meeting, immediately afterwards, let's go to the bar. Go to the bar at the hotel, go to the bar at the restaurant. Let's go to happy hour and then we'll do dinner. And then we'll go out after dinner. Pretty soon I got like 9 drinks in my system. That was normal. That was like 3 days, 4 days a week. But I felt like I had to because I didn't know who I was. I didn't feel comfortable in my skin. So I drank to feel more comfortable. Does that resonate with anybody? So I did a lot of work on myself. My wife, she's the one who did a lot of work initially on herself. I joined her on that journey of self-discovery to look at all the layers, to understand what is it that makes us wired and who am I? And as I did more work on myself, I let go of the deals. I wasn't as concerned about when they were going to close. I let go of this constant pursuit of achievement, of getting to the next level, getting promoted. I let go of what my parents think of me or thought of me, how I disappointed them in their eyes. I let go of all of these things. I didn't care as much anymore about any of that stuff. I became more comfortable who I was. So I wanted to share with you a couple key learnings that I picked up along the way that I continue to use my entire life and with my family. And I started to understand how the brain works. Do you guys want to do that? Do you want to understand how the brain works so we can maybe make some shifts? Okay. Because I promise you this will lead to more sales. Not because you want or you're achieving it or striving it, because you're doing it consciously and you're doing it creatively and you're doing it with fun and purpose. You're doing it from an authentic place and people want to work with you. Your customers want to work with you and you want to work with yourself. You like who you are, means you can go to sleep at night knowing that you did a full day. You can wake up in the morning knowing that you are a good person and all you care about is helping people. When I made that shift about serving others, not to get what I wanted to serve myself, but actually serving humanity and doing what's right and telling them that I think you should go to the competitor because they're lower cost and you don't need the complexity and the security and availability of what we have. So I would, if I were you, I'd just go to the low cost provider. Or you know what, we can't move on the price. I don't know what, I can make a bunch of stuff up, but the price is the price. Or we can't move forward. I'm not going to deploy a solution engineer because we haven't even talked to the executive sponsor. How do we know this is a priority or project for them? How do we know that? I mean, we need to have that dialogue in order for us to invest in this proof of concept or pilot. People said I was bold in my statements. I was just being authentic from a neutral place, and I own my power. And then I was able to take control of my sales cycles by not trying to control it. Isn't that wild? So I'm gonna just, can you see the full slide on your side? Just want to make sure I have two, because I have two monitors.
Yep, we see it.
So yeah, our brains are fascinating tools. They really are. And we can consciously use them and purposefully use them, but what we tend to do is we overuse our minds and we overthink, and then we're in the RPM zone, the red zone, and we're stressed out. And it's hard to work effectively from a stressed out place. We have to take time and sharpen our minds. We have to understand how they operate. Professional athletes do this all the time. They understand the power of the mind, and they have to develop mind training and visualization in addition to physical training. Everybody knows, elite performers know that everything begins with a thought. And so whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Everything begins with a thought. Thoughts create emotions. Emotions is what drive actions. And the intentions and the energy behind what we say and what we think permeates everything. Two reps can say the same thing, exact same thing. One's going to land better because of the intention and the energy and what they believe under the surface is going to come through on the way they convey that message. Whether it's in written form or oral form, thoughts permeate everything that we do. And thoughts are based on our beliefs. And all beliefs are learned. And just because you learn something doesn't mean it's true. We learn stuff all the time. They're all coming through our belief systems. So we perceive the world around us based on what we believe. We look through life with glasses on, lenses. We perceive ourselves and the world around us through this lens of our belief system. I'd like to play a quick game for you. What do you believe you see here? Type in the chat or speak it out loud. It's a small group. What do you see in this picture?
Two people just facing each other.
Two people. How many? Who sees this something else? Does anyone see anything else in this picture?
I see a chalice or a goblet.
A goblet. Does anyone not see the faces? You can see both, right? What we perceive, we believe. We're perceiving this as two faces. We're perceiving this as a goblet or a chalice. We can see both perceptions here. But it's an example that some people, their first and immediate reaction will look at something and make a belief and or make a perception on something, and it's based on what they believe, which doesn't mean it's true. It's just their perception. So the brain plays funny tricks. This is how the mind works. What do you see in this picture? What do you see? Anything?
See a lady
An old
looking.
woman.
Adam, you see an old woman? Is that right?
And also the young woman.
Oh, you've seen
I've
this
seen this before. Yeah, it's unfair. Sorry.
Who sees the old woman? You see it, Sebastian?
Yeah, I've seen this before, so I saw the lady looking away first.
Does anyone not see the younger woman? That's the harder one, I think. This is her nose. She's looking at.
Yeah. Oh, now I finally see it. I
This
must
is
have
her
seen
chin.
this 5 times, and now I finally see the old lady.
Then the old lady has the chin hanging down. This is
Yeah. Dude, that took me forever to find out. Okay. Crazy.
the mind is wild. We can look at the same exact thing and see something completely opposite. Okay, one last one. Which table's bigger? Or longer, I should say.
The left one?
The left one. That makes sense. Sure does. All right, let's see. The left definitely looks longer. It's got to be. What? Are you kidding me? They're the same size. We think the quote is unattainable. We think the territory we have is shit. We think that, you know, this person got more existing customers and I'm prospecting new logos is hard. And we make up all kinds of stuff the same size. We make up all kinds of stuff. And so whatever you see is based on your belief. It doesn't mean it's true. So I want you to be aware that your reality and how you exist and how you look at the life could be completely off track for all I know. But that's powerful. That's powerful. Once you realize that, you're like, well, wait, what do I want my life? How can I program my mind? You can't actually program your mind. This is how it works. We take in data through protein receptors, rods and cones in our eyes and our ears. They're protein receptors. Dr. Bruce Lipton, Biology of Belief, did extensive studies on this. And they're like little tiny antennas that just pick up data signals and filter those through the mind. And the mind has a belief system because it was programmed by other people. When we're born into a family, or even not, somebody is taking care of us as a baby. And they're doing their best, but they're programming the children based on what they learned. And then you got geography, where you live, religion, culture. You have past generations. You have all of these other factors. We all have these other factors that program our mind. And some of that programming is incredibly good. It's where our greatest gifts are. Some of the programming has bugs in it. Some code that wasn't written right. Abuse, trauma, all of that, fear, anxiety, lack, goes into how we're programmed. But the good news is we don't have to live with that program. We have choice. As we get older, we start to realize, boy, I wish my program wouldn't run in this capacity. I like this one, but I need to hire some developers and reprogram that stuff and clean up some of these bugs. You hire the developers by joining a community like Davidson has set up. It's meant to be in community. We can't program. The one with the deficient program can't program itself to fix the programming. Does that make sense? Can't write code from a place where the code isn't written well. There's some work we can do on ourselves, but we really do need to work in community. So we have a mind, we have a brain in our head, and there are different components of it. The neocortex is the largest portion, but only 5%. We're only using, that's the conscious mind. We only use 5%. That's where we're used for thoughts. I mean, language, like I'm speaking now, my body gestures, our imagination. We only use 5 to 10% of our mind. The rest of it is subconscious. It's hidden. What's an example of that? Well, if somebody shines a light in your eye, your pupils automatically dilate. If you hit your knee at a certain spot, your leg's going to kick. That's an autonomic reflexive pattern, and it's subconsciously driven. The subconscious mind is what controls the trillions of cells in our bodies, our heart rate, our blood pressure, our anatomical, all of our physiology. And our subconscious mind is also where we store buried emotions. It's this part of the brain, the limbic and the reptilian. The reptilian is fight or flight, animalistic. Now there's a purpose for it. If you see a bear, you need to run. If you're in danger, the reptilian brain gets involved. The problem is we keep that stress and anxiety with us way beyond the time that we needed it. We carry it with us. And our limbic is our emotional center. It's where we have judgment. It's where we judge ourselves and we judge other people. And it's where long-term memory is stored. And it's where when we don't have the tools to process a stressful situation, we internalize, we deny, and we disconnect. And we bury it in our subconscious mind as a protectionary reflex so that we can then readdress it later. Sometimes we do when we sleep, when we dream. We could do it through exercise. There's a variety of different ways, but there's always an emotional component. And if you don't deal with those emotions that are coming up, then you're not going to be able to open up your true power and drive the sales that you want to do. So 90 to 95% of our mind is subconscious or below the surface. I want to actually, instead of a slide, I want to try this. Let's see. Okay, that sounds good. That looks good. This is my attempt at drawing an iceberg. The top, this is the water. The top of the iceberg is you only see a small portion above the waterline. Most of it is below the surface. So think of that as your subconscious mind. Now, let's just say we're in sales and we're afraid. We're afraid of missing our quarter, our number. We're afraid to ask a question to the prospect about reporting structure. We're afraid to get to the executive. And that's fear. So we are acknowledging, I'm afraid right now. What's under the surface is I'm not safe. So we're only aware of what bubbles to the surface. It's like a bubble. And we're like, oh my God, I'm afraid of this situation. I'm afraid about executive missing my quarter. But we're not aware, because you're not aware of the subconscious mind, where there is no choice. Just like you can't control your eyes that dilate, you can't control your knee, you can't control. We're not aware, it's subconscious. We're only aware of the 5 to 10%. So we're aware of our fear, but we don't realize underneath is a core limiting belief of I am not safe. Therefore, any circumstance is going to trigger this emotional reaction of fear. Let's try another one, anger. Anger. You're angry at the prospect because they want to look at a competitor. You're angry at a partner because they're killing your deal. You're angry at a coworker because they're not available when you need to. You're angry at your family because of the way they treated you. Would you ever choose to feel any of these things if you had a choice? Would you guys ever choose that? Nobody would ever choose that, right? So it's coming from the subconscious part, where there is no choice. It's a reactive pattern. And anger is I am not deserving. That's what that says. I am not deserving. I don't deserve it. So it comes out as anger. Now, how the heck do you rewire the brain? How do you rewire the subconscious mind? You tell your mind, it's like a dog. You can tell it what you want to say. Listen, buddy, there's a new sheriff in town. Sit, stay, roll over, listen to me. You are safe. I am 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 safe. You say it enough. You say it enough times. Instead of the fear, it's I am safe. This will cross out. This will eventually go away. And it doesn't happen overnight. It can happen quicker than you think. But what I've noticed is that those bubbles that come to the surface, they happen less frequently and the amplitude is less. And I start to stabilize through the fearful situations. Affirmations, I am safe. I am worthy. I am deserving. I am deserving. I am deserving. Because the brain doesn't know the difference between memory, imagination, reality, or dream. Doesn't know the difference. It just picks up data signals through the rods and cones in our senses through the belief system. So if you send it a signal that's opposite of what you believe based on past programming when you were at the age of 7 and you were in an environment of not feeling safe, as a protectionary mechanism, you stuff that. And then you go about your day thinking, well, that's over with. Well, it bubbles. It bubbles to the surface as stress, and it bubbles to the surface as physical symptoms. And part of my journey of being authentic in sales and authentic in life was to address what these patterns were. And I could recognize them because they were consistent of trying to please people, changing who I was, worrying about what other people thought, proving something to other people, a lot of programming that I had to unwind, let go, let go, let go, and refill and refill and refill in community with other people to help reprogram my mind. And that's when I made millions of dollars. And I started my own company, and I had the courage to take risks because I own my power and I believe in myself. And even if it fails, quote unquote, I'm still whole. I'm still me. I still have food and a family. I don't care about the fancy cars and stuff anymore. I like nice cars. I have a nice car. It doesn't define my life. So I want to do a quick exercise, and then we'll open it up to some questions, but there's a process that I do. And I call it the see it, feel it, hear it process. So you ask yourself the first question: would I choose to feel the way I choose right now? If the answer is no, then you know it's coming from the subconscious place where there's no choice. Would I choose to feel this way? No. Okay, what am I feeling? And then you see the images in your mind, you feel it in your body, you hear that voice, and you breathe through it, and you involve your senses where the rods and cones are, and those protein receptors are picking up data. You're force feeding it through your senses to rewire and reprogram the subconscious mind. We'll do it in 5 minutes, just so you know what it's like. When I bring up the concept of stress in your life, observe your first and immediate thought, no matter what or who you think about. Stress in your life. So now I want you to guys just say, I got something, but just nod in your head. I got something. This is not about sharing. I'm just guiding you through a process. Can everyone connect to a stressful situation in their life? We all could. There's no shortage of them. Now, I really want you to look at that stressful situation. With neutral eyes, observe it. And think about what emotion you feel when you connect to that. I'm connecting to I'm connecting to worry. I feel worried I feel inadequate, and I feel ashamed when I connect to my stress. Can you guys type just what emotion you feel? Worry, fear, anger, frustration, embarrass, sadness, shame, remorse, sad. See, we all feel these things. Not enough, confused, angry. We're human. Embarrassed, unworthy, fear. We all have these. I have them too. Just because I do the work here doesn't mean I never. It's an infinite pool of more reactive patterns. So now that you know the emotion that you connect to, see the pictures and images of that in your mind's eye. Like watch it like it's a movie theater, like you're sitting in the movie theater and you're watching the big screen and it's your mind's eye. And see the embarrassed, sad, remorseful, shame, sad. It's the movie, it's sad. It's a sad movie. See those pictures. As you're connecting to that, put your hand over your heart, give yourself love, and take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Pay attention to your physical body, how it feels physically when you connect to this stressful situation and you feel shame and sadness and worry and anxiety. I feel a constricted feeling in my chest. Connect to where you feel it in your body. Put your hand over any of the tense spots or wherever you feel the anxiety and stress in your body. And I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Now I want you to listen to that voice inside your head. This is that self-talk. We all have that voice. And this is the voice of sadness, stress, anxiety, shame, embarrassed, confused, angry. Let it just say what it wants to say. Just hear it out. It's like a barking dog. As you're connecting to that voice, take a deep breath. So we just did one half of the equation, took about 3 minutes. We saw the emotion, we felt it, and we heard it. That's how you process it. That's how you process the negative reactive emotion. But now we want to fill it with what we do want. Could you do me a favor and type the emotion that you would choose if you had a choice? You just shared with me what you would not choose. But what would you choose? What emotion feels good for you? Love, courage, abundance, happy, peace, worthy, powerful, courageous, abundant, excited, love, happiness, confidence. That's our true nature. Those are all derivatives of love. And what we just processed were derivatives of fear. There are only two emotions: love, our true nature, and fear is what we learn. And so now from this place, I want you to go in your mind's eye, the movie theater of your mind, sit in that movie theater and watch this movie of excitement, love, courageous, powerful, happy, peace, abundance, courage, pride, capable. See those pictures in your mind's eye, no matter what or who you think about. And take a deep breath. Notice how that emotion feels in your body physically. I notice I'm able to stand easier. I feel grounded in my body, like my feet feel heavier. My shoulders are back more. I feel just like an openness right here. Whatever you feel in your body, be aware of that. Put your hand over that spot and take a deep breath. Now that voice inside our mind, that self-talk, turn the volume up on that voice. This is excitement, love, worthy, courageous, powerful, abundant, pride, peace, relaxed. Let that voice say whatever it wants to say to you. And this is the voice of your higher self. Mine says you can do it. It's not that big of a deal. You can totally do it. Anybody want to share what their voice is saying? Okay, you can take a deep breath. You're already doing it, Charlie. I love the stress. Your voice says, I love the stress, Sean. So that's your mind wants to hold on to what it's familiar to. It feels scared. The reptilian brain doesn't like to change. It wants the status quo. Just like your prospects and your customers want the status quo, your reptilian brain is like your worst nightmare from a prospect perspective, because they don't want to change. It feels like it's going to die. So it would rather hold on to the stress because it's familiar than change. But the whole reason we're on this planet is to change. If you look at the seasons change. The earth embodies constant change. Every breath we take is a new breath. Every exhale we breathe out is a new exhale. Everything's changing. But our reptilian brain wants to stay the same. It's animalistic. This is easy, Adam. This is easy. You got this, boss energy, Davidson, boss. You got this. So connect to that stressful situation that I originally brought up, that I asked you to think about. Just connect to that original stressful situation and just notice if it's any different. I can barely connect to mine. I mean, I can think about it, but I don't have an emotional charge to it, me personally. What do you guys and gals notice?
It's less paralyzing. Like there's actually choice, like, or there's actually like a way through versus just being like, oh man, like I'm screwed. Like I don't even know how to solve this seemingly large issue that I'm dealing with.
Yeah, less
Claire.
intense.
So rather than less intense, what is it that you do feel? I just want to do a correction there. I know what you don't feel, but what do you feel?
Faith that it's going to work out no matter what happens.
Is that what you feel, Sebastian?
I was gonna say more control, but maybe that's not the word. Maybe more faith.
Whatever. There's no wrong answer. Just whatever you feel like you're in control. You feel like you have faith. You feel like it's going to work out. You feel like there's possibility. You feel like this is easy. This is what's called the flow state. When you operate from the flow state, it manifests like a mofo. You really do. and you don't give a shit about the stuff that you used to care about that really doesn't matter anyways. So this is a practice. This is not just daily, it's like an hourly practice. It is something we need to do this a lot more than the next cold calling sequence or the next email outbound sequence or the next AI driven message bang thing that's going to convert somebody so I can get something and book a deal so I can get to the next level and I can then do that. And then if I do all of these things, I'll be happy. I'm sorry to break the news. It doesn't happen that way. It's a false chase. It's a race and it's a lie. Do your inner work and your outer work just takes care of itself. And I'm not saying be lazy. I work hard. I put in, I'm very efficient. I work from a place of inspiration, not desperation. I work from a place of inspiration, not obligation. And when you're operating from that place, power comes forth, creativity comes forth. People come and want to help you without even thinking about it. This is the best way to prospect in your life, is to just attract it in because you're vibrating at a higher frequency. You raise your vibes, then you vibrate at a higher frequency and you attract others that operate at a similar frequency. And so all of a sudden, prospects show up and they're like, yeah, I've been looking for this for a while and you have exactly what you need. I need. Instead of, well, I don't know, this is a priority and we're looking at 3 of your competitors and, you're going to have to drop the price in half. And if you're operating from weak and lower frequency, you're going to attract those types of procurement kind of people and IT security. And this is not magic or woo-woo. This is math. It's how this universe works. It's a mathematical, scientific, proven law. It's law. So the journey to authenticity is the journey to be aware of what's bubbling to the surface. And if I wouldn't choose it, then I have the power to reprogram what I am choosing. And when I'm I've decided here and now that I'm worthy and I'm deserving and I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. All right, Dave.
Sean, you look like you have a question. Is that your confused face? What's going on, bro?
Oh no, I was just revisiting my conversation with the CEO as Mike was talking. It just brought me back like the fear state when folks got laid off and like restructured, how I felt that. Then what I wish I would have said, and versus what I did end up saying, talk on the topic of authenticity and stuff like that. So
it takes courage to do your inner work. And then when you do that, you have courage to speak your voice authentically, no matter what title somebody has. You don't view anybody as above you or below you. We're all one. We're all just trying to solve things. And we can have a very open and transparent, authentic conversation, even if it's a CEO and an AE, because inside we're all the same. Anybody have any questions or comments or?
Wanted to ask Mike about so the I guess the opposite of I'm not safe, I am safe, right? But for anger, this was less intuitive for me. I am not deserving, so the opposite of anger.
I am deserving, I am worthy, I am at peace. You can say a variety of different, not just that one statement, but anger tends to mean that I'm angry because there's a part of me, a subconscious part of me, one that I'm not consciously aware of, but subconsciously there is a limiting belief that I'm not deserving. It comes out in anger, but that's your journey to just connect to the anger and just see the first images that appear. Your subconscious will bubble that stuff to the surface. Sometimes I see colors. Sometimes I see animals. Sometimes I see people. Sometimes I don't see anything, but I trust that whatever the subconscious is feeding me when I give it space to bring those images to my mind, I'm going to harmonize and connect to that and love and be gratitude and breathe through that. Same thing with the voice and same thing with the body. Just allow the subconscious to bring it to surface. You're like, wow, where did that come from? That was an old memory. When I moved from Chicago to Cleveland at age 9, I was in a new school, and I remember feeling really stressed out about that, not worthy. I don't know. Let me connect to that point in my life and breathe through it, give myself love, and let me say, I am deserving. I am worthy. I am powerful. Look at me now. So it's the I am statement, because your brain doesn't know the difference. So when you say, I am this, even if you don't believe it initially, because you won't, you just keep repeating it into the subconscious mind, and you reaffirm it with activities, habits, and behaviors. Subconscious mind always comes on board. Until another layer, until you're around your family. For me, it's my in-laws. But, you know, for you, it could be your parents, or until you think you got all figured out, until you're about a family member, and boy, you realize I got a lot of work to do. I have a lot of work to do. It's progress, not perfection.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, so when you started this talk off, you mentioned how you went from being someone that kind of like shifts and was a chameleon in a way, and like putting on multiple masks, to talking with various personas, and you would just kind of mold yourself to that. Can you talk about the evolution of like how this practice of breathing into the feeling and kind of recognizing what the underlying emotion is that you're feeling helps you not do that, and then like how that then impacted you as like, you think about your role today as CRO, like how that comes through in your work?
One of the first things I noticed was I was starting to meet with a lot higher level people in my accounts. I wasn't as afraid to upset the mid-level managers or directors. I felt like it was my obligation to have the message be communicated to the C-suite. I felt this inner drive and belief that I was worthy of those meetings, that I deserved them. And I also recognized that the mid-level folks are operating from a place of fear. They're afraid. They're afraid it's going to be more work for them. They're afraid they're going to be seen by their boss. They're afraid it's going to be too much responsibility. They're going to afraid ultimately losing their job. So it gave me compassion that I knew they would not choose to feel fearful, but they are. I can't change other people. I can only change myself and how I respond. So I allowed them to have the fear, but it wouldn't hold me back from taking action, because I believed I was worthy and deserving of getting an executive meeting. As a result, I got more executive meetings than anybody in the company in history. I also ran our executive engagement program at DocuSign, which included our advisory board. My team was the liaison between our senior leadership team and all of our top customers and prospects. So my belief in that started with me booking more executive meetings, to me running an executive network, to, now I am an executive. That's one example. And when I did that, my deal sizes went through the roof. I was doing deals that were orders of magnitude larger than our average selling price in most of the deals. Same product, same solution, but sold in a multi-year commitment with $20, $30 million kind of commitment level at a company at the time was like 50 million in ARR. I also was very open and transparent, so I disqualified very easily and quickly. I try to talk customers away from doing it further all the time. Doesn't feel like you're ready. I sent you 2 emails. You never responded. You know how I interpret that? It's not a priority. If it was, you'd be like my other customers who are texting me. I don't even have your cell number. Like it's super transparent, radical transparency of conversations. Now I can still adapt I didn't lose my adaptability, but I'm using it consciously from an authentic place of who I am. So I still have a chameleon kind of aspect to me that I use to my advantage when I know it serves the customer, but I don't get lost in wearing the masks. I know who I am underneath. I use it like tools with intention.
That's a really good kind of thing to point out, because I feel like, yeah. Wait, so was the way that you kind of used it as a tool as opposed to being controlled by it, just
Right.
through, like the way you did that was
Putting
through
back up on the, I said, I'm done with that mask. I got the procurement mask off. All right, I got the IT. I know we're going to dig into tech. They're not going to care about value. Let me change my talk track based on the audience. I'm going to hone and tailor my messaging so that it resonates appropriately with who I'm talking to. But the difference is I'm not doing it subconsciously from a reactive, fearful place. I'm not doing it to get something in return. My intention behind it so that I could communicate more effectively with the people that I'm working with, so we can get to the heart of the matter as quickly as possible.
And I mean, now as CRO, you have like bigger targets than you've ever had, right? Because you're responsible for the entire revenue or hitting their target. So it's like,
Well, at Handshakes, I'm the co-founder. We just launched the product last year, so it's a little different. But my last company, I ran marketing, sales, customer success. I raised $200 million in the company from VCs, and we took the revenue from 6 million to 60 million in a year. And so you're talking about big problems, big numbers, big expectations. The weight gets heavier and heavier on your shoulders. So the more grounded you can be, the deeper your roots, the taller your branches can grow.
and I'm sure you still feel all these feelings, but it's just the way that you're able to like snap into the flow state is because you're so aware of when you feel the fear, you just go.
I address them as they come up a lot quicker now.
Yeah.
So I'm able to be buoyant and resilient and surf the waves of life instead of getting crushed by them.
That's great. Thank you.
How'd you learn all this, Mike? Was it like through reading some books, or do you normally meet with somebody to practice this kind of stuff?
Yeah, The Power of Now is my first book that opened me up to just the present moment and how all there is, and there's no such thing as future and past. They're made up constructs in the mind. That was really a big one for me. A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle is another great book that kind of started my journey through endless books of the Four Agreements and a bunch of Wayne Dyer stuff, and Bruce Lipton I mentioned has a great book. Dr. Darren Weissman, he created the Lifeline technique. That's where I learned the brain, the components of the brain. I got certified in the Lifeline technique, which was a multi-year course. I've done workshops, masterminds, groups, whatever I find that I feel like will help support me. I'm an eternal student and I'm a teacher, but I'm always a student. And for me, it goes and it ebbs and flows. I'm all in a moment and then I'm kind of drift a little bit, and then I'm all in and then I drift. Others are more consistent. I think it depends on their personality style. But when there's really tough stuff in life, grief, loss of loved one, really tough stuff, I find those to be incredibly powerful forcing functions to go really deep, really quickly and evolve really quickly. And if you can move through those really tough situations with grace, with ease, with faith, the power that comes out of that is insane. It's massive. So now I can go into really tough life situations, express my emotions authentically about how horrific it is, but maintain a higher perspective. Like, all right, man, just ride this out. Just ride it out. Just keep giving yourself love, because on the other side of this is this new insight, a new awakening, a new power. And it always happens that way. So in a weird way, I almost get a part of me gets a little excited when I'm going through really tough situations. because I know what's going to be on the other side.
That's gold, man. That must mean I must have a really big breakthrough coming out of this next couple months.
You do. If you harness the energy and go through it with authenticity, truth and transparency, loving yourself unconditionally, forgiving the past part of you that made decisions based on a reactive pattern, the best that you knew how. Let that go. Stay completely present. Breathe through it. Give yourself love for yourself and others. And man, the power will be palpable. You won't even believe. When you open the aperture up, your light shines through.
I can't stop smiling because I went through that exercise with you, maybe a month or two ago for the first time. And um, everything isn't like amazing just yet, but it feels like that inwardly, right? Like that self-love and like worthiness and showing up to calls different and just life period with the kids, setting boundaries around work and all the above. I just feel completely better than what I felt 2 months ago when we
That's
first
awesome,
did exercise.
Tanya.
So thank you.
It's those micro moments that
Yep.
make huge difference that over time create a whole different trajectory. And thank you for sharing, because it's not difficult work. Anybody can do it. It's easy. It just has to be done. And this is the path. This is the way. And by the way, you're going to crush your numbers. You're going to sell, I promise you.
Yeah. I had a question for you, Mike, around just balance. You mentioned like being a student always, right? And there's just so much to learn, especially when you're passionate about your day job and learning new things, AI, all the above. And I was just curious, like, with life, your day job, the things that interest you and you want to learn and upskill, like, how do you balance it all? Like, do you have a process for, I guess maybe what I'm asking is, I've been given the feedback of like being so tactical sometimes and not looking ahead to let that steward what I'm trying to do. And I'm trying to figure out like, oh, that's great feedback, but how do I get the right steps in places and learn balance?
So you want a framework and systems and process to be in the flow state. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's that analytical mind wants to make sense.
Yes.
So how do I have time for it? I do what I want to do. I just follow my intuition.
Okay.
I just follow my heart. And I'm like, hey, the next, Ian Koniak's big on the 12-week year. So I do that too. I'd say, hey, what do I want to do at 3-month increments? What are some areas? There's some things I want to do around the house. There's some things I want to do physically for myself. There's some planning and some meetings I want to do. I look at the wheel of life to see which area is most out of balance. It's never completely centered. I'm always off-centered in some degrees.
Yeah.
Finances and career could be really high, but my relationships are struggling. Or I'm really good in relationships and my physical being, but I'm disconnected from my higher power or God or faith. So I look at my wheel just to see like, okay, where do I kind of need to move the needle a little bit more? And then that goes into my 12-week plan. And then I just prioritize on a weekly basis to take small steps. Right now it's have fun. That's what I have not been having enough fun with my son. So today we jumped in the pool at 3:00 in the afternoon and we just were silly. And normally I'd be like, I got to prep for my next call. But I said, no, this is one of the things you wrote down is important. So I don't look at it as so rigidity, like I go 10 minutes in this time and 15 minutes there. I try to be in a flow state. I follow my intuition and I trust that it will naturally come forth, the priorities.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I
We're
know
out of time, Davidson.
we're at time. So thank you so much, Mike. Oh, I am collecting some feedback. So just to make these sessions, just to get feedback, what you enjoyed, and I can also give my feedback as well. But yeah, if you guys click on that, let me start there's 3 questions. It's just how productive was the session, and then what word would you describe that you received from this session, and then what did you learn? So pretty simple. All right. The poll is on, so let me know if that link works for you guys. Okay, so far a lot of 5 stars. Okay, that's good. I'll
That's
just
good.
wait.
You gotta wait till I'm off, and then you get the authentic, real
Oh,
rate.
wait, we had someone that said 4, but then they switched it to 5. I'm not sure what happened there.
Uh,
All right. Is that everybody? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think that's everyone. Okay, cool. And then the next one is, so we got the next, it's like a word cloud. So let me actually, it's probably easier if I just share my screen, right? Okay. All right, there you go. You guys can see it.
Yep.
Authenticity, gratitude, renaissance. Ooh, that's a cool one. I like it. Freedom, love, gratitude. Aw, that's nice. Think we have someone typing or to flow. Ooh, that's a good one. Refresh. Ah, I love that. Thanks, everyone. And then this is the last question. What did you learn from this session? All right, while we do that, I just want to say thank you, Mike. I want to acknowledge you for your, here, I'll let them type in when that's done. I'll share my screen. I want to acknowledge you for your your self-awareness, your ability to serve and push the boundaries a bit, right? Not just being authentic. The difference you make with every interaction, you're very present. When we're engaging with you, you're fully dialed in, and yeah, you're clearing for healing, for possibility, for us to step into our badass energy. And I just really appreciate you taking the time. I know a lot of people, I'm going to post this on social media, so I'm sure a lot of people will reach out to you and will also get a ton of value from this. So thank you for always serving and just being a resource. Does anyone else want to say anything to Mike?
Just thank you for sharing all that. It was incredibly helpful to kind of understand what's the important things to focus on.
Yeah, it wasn't what I was expecting. So thank you, Mike. That was pretty insightful. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. I feel like the more, I try and delve into this work, it all kind of comes back to these concepts. I read a lot of Eckhart Tolle as well, and it's just like kind of validating to hear someone at your level who's also, you know, totally bought into these ideas and concepts and like that it's fully worked. And you're like, it's great to hear that it's not just like a woo woo thing and it's actually like connected to science. And like, it's great to hear that you did that work and the results that it led to. So thank you.
Mhm. Well, thank you, Tanya. It's always good to see you.
Likewise. Thank you.
All right, so this is what everyone has said. The importance of constantly rewiring our negative thoughts and subconscious tendencies. There's always a new way to reframe our mindset and to find a way forward. Focus on flow state, internal work, breath work, trusting your intuition. Don't fret and go into cram sessions and based off of fear. Yeah, we all have done that. Love that flow state. Breathing into feeling, recognizing where it's stemming from, sending love to yourself when you feel negative emotions, how to be more authentic, how to have it translate to every other part of your life, especially in sales. trusting yourself, you will know. And when speaking with executives, middle management operates from fear to maintain the status quo. So going up is to have higher level, high energy conversations, not be bogged down with low energy people that can't make things happen, and to not take things personally. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Well, yeah, this feedback was helpful. And yeah, we're going to have more interesting people on. So I'm looking forward. And yeah, Mike, you're welcome to join the community. I'll have other interesting people on. So, you know, if you're ever free, it's usually this time every Monday. So
All right, Sales Tribe. Live long and prosper. All right. Have a good evening.
all right, take care. Bye.
Thank you, Mike. You too.
Thanks. Bye.